Yeah, my name is Dr. Fanikumar Shinde, Assistant Professor in the Department of CSE, Space Institute of Technology and Sciences. Now, in this session, we will discuss on the Mulesoft. It's one of the platform of Salesforce which is used to develop APIs. Now, let's see here what are the topics which are covered in this session. Like these are the topics we will cover in this session. Like what is the Mulesoft, what is the integration, why integration is required, and what are the prerequisites to implement the APIs by using Mulesoft, and what are the key components which are present in Mulesoft, Mule ESB, API led connectivity and life cycle of Mulesoft. Let's see what is a Mulesoft. Here you can see that Mulesoft is an integration platform that allows business to connect applications, data and devices both on premise on the cloud. Now let's see what is this. Here we are saying that integration between any two components. That components may be an APIs, an applications, a servers, anything you can take. It can be transmit the data in between the both, and those applications or server may be present in a cloud applications, otherwise on premises. And before going to see how the Mule APIs which you can develop, first we can see what is an integration. That is the main thing, because of we are performing, otherwise we are doing with the APIs is to integrate. That's why first we need to know what is an integration. Here integration is the process to transmit the data from one component to another component, like which you have discussed earlier. Like that component is anything, like it's an applications or service. Here the process which you are following to transmit the data, that is a unique way, like from one application to another application. Otherwise a bidirectional, that means from one application to another application we can send a data as a request, and also here the source will get a response, that can be called as a bidirectional. Like these are the two ways we are having, we can develop anything. And why integration is required? Like here integration, by integration here we are saying that here it is an automation, like to perform an automation between any two applications. Here we can use the integration. Let's take an example. Like we have an HR application system and attendance management system of an employee. We can take one example with attendance management system. Like an employee day to day, here the employee will give an attendance by using either biometric device or facial device, anything. That is one application. And the second one is HR management system. It is for payroll management, like to create the salaries. And at the final, the year ending, here the HR will get the data, that means the attendance from attendance management system, and based on that records, here the HR will pay the salaries to the employees. Now if you are not using the integration, then at manually the HR has to get the data from the attendance management system and get the data and upload the data in HR management system. Here that means it's a manual process, it will take some time and manpower also required for that, and also it takes the time. Now to overcome that, if you are using integration in this place, then whenever the employee put attendance by using biometric device, then that data will be automatically reflected in HR management system. Like this, here this automation, to perform this automation, it's not only with HR management and payroll. Here these can be used for different scenarios and different applications in different organization. And let's see what are the key components are present in Mulesoft. Anypoint Studio, Anypoint Exchange, Anypoint Platform, Mule Runtime, Connectors, API Manager. And we will see all these components in the next further slides, wherever it will be applicable in the API lifecycle. Then the prerequisites. First, if you want to implement the APIs by using Mulesoft, then what are the prerequisites we require? The first one is experience with a Java programming or any object oriented programming language. Here the Java programming is not a mandatory, but if you are aware about the object oriented programming language, then it is very easy to understand and implement the APIs by using Mulesoft. And the next one is a basic understanding of data formats such as XML, CSV and JSON. Like what we are saying here, we are saying that integration, we are performing the integration and the data is transmitting from one to another. That means one application to another application. We are passing the data. Now the data is with any type, that may be a CSV format, that may be a JSON format, that may be XML format. Like we are having some other data types also there, but mostly we use these three formats. If you are aware about this, then it is very easy to understand, and a basic understanding of typical integration technologies such as SFTP, HTTP, JMS, JDBC, REST and SOAP. Here what is this? Like we can see that these are the integration technologies. Here we are saying that SFTP, like here we are saying that the data transmission from one application to another application, like that may be in file transformation. If that is a file transformation, then you can say it as SFTP. If it is a web service transformation, then that may be a REST API or SOAP. And one more thing, JMS, Java messaging services, like we have a message brokers. Now for that we can use that. And JDBC, like if you are having multiple databases like a MySQL database and Oracle database, if you want to integrate that MySQL to Oracle, then in this scenario also we can use Mulesoft. Then you can see that organization use it to like this. That means here the organizations, they have to utilize all these services, like some of the applications are present in SAP, some of that in Oracle, some of in Microsoft, some of in IBM, and some of the custom APIs, like these are the APIs which are available in cloud, and these are the APIs. Custom APIs means the user, that means the organization, they have developed their own custom APIs, those also available, and the databases. These are the traditional organization structure, they are using all these. And then next one you can see that, but now it looks more like this. That means at current situations, all the organizations, that means the new organization, new trend, like they are not maintaining their whole applications in their own place. Instead of that, all those information, like all those applications, they can access through the cloud applications, Now let's see, here it is the major part. Now you can see here, it is the old technology. Old technology is nothing but, like here all these applications, like custom applications, the installed applications and databases and the cloud, here each one will be interact with individually. Each one will be interact with individual. These type of transmission can be called as point to point. It's a point to point. Let's, you can see here the IBM is connected with the Join, and IBM is connected with Amazon, IBM is connected with Windows, IBM is connected with Box. That means this IBM is physically connected with all those things individually. That's why here this total network is in the form of clumsy. Now if you are following this technology in this model, then what will be happen? It is very clumsy, and if IBM is failed, then the entire transmission will be failed. If any one is failed, then everything will be spoiled. That's why to overcome this issue, now we are having, this is the technology, like which we are saying, the Mule ESB, Enterprise Service Bus. It can overcome, like the Mule ESB will overcome whatever the thing which you have discussed earlier, like the clumsy thing, the point to point. It is not there with this Mule ESB. Now Mule ESB is in the part of middle, in between all the packages which are available in the local, and again what are the cloud services are available. Like we are not having the point to point contact with one application to another application. Instead of that, all these applications are connected with a Mule ESB, and the Mule ESB is connected with all the different technologies. Now it is the better solution by compared to point. It can be called as the Mule ESB, Enterprise Service Bus. It solves the problem which you are having previous. Then let's see why Mulesoft. Because of we are having some other technologies to develop the APIs. Instead of that, why Mulesoft? Let's, you can see, first thing is easy integration with SaaS enterprise and cloud services. Over 140 existing enterprise and cloud connectors, that means the physical connector, like the connectors which are already available. There is no need to write a code for that. There is no need to develop an APIs for that. Instead of that, the Mulesoft is already developed so many connectors, we can just use it. Now we are having more than 140 connectors, and platform extract common connectivity concerns, and community model encourage long tail API inclusion, contribution certifications and support also available. Like If you have any issue with API development in any organization, like the Mulesoft helping team is there, supporting team, they can provide the more security and support also, and open SDK for easy creation of new connectors. Like it's everything is an open source. If it is an open source means like anyone can create an APIs and anyone can update the APIs, anyone can provide the existing libraries and they can create a new libraries in the exchange also. And let's see here, these are the examples which are already having connectors with Mulesoft. Then see here, old API building approach while implementing any application. Now it is the old trend. Now you can see here we are having two applications, one is the mobile application and second one is the web applications. Now in this project it is like some orders they has to get some orders, and they are having some servers like server applications, external server applications, like we are having a Salesforce, we are having SAP, we are having database, which are having different. Like you can see in this old API building process, in this approach what we are following, like for mobile API we have to develop one entire application, and then second one for web API we need to develop a separate one. Like we are having different applications for like one is for mobile and second one is for web, but the functionality is the same. That means for the same functionality for different clients we have to develop a different applications. That is the major default negative we are having in this world API approach. Now that's we are overcome with this. Let's see how. This can be called as API led connectivity. It plays a major role in API development. It plays a major role in API development. Let's, you can see here. Like here this API led connectivity approach, it has three layers. Completely it has three layers. Now what are those layers? One is the system layer, second one is the process, and third one is experience. Now each layer has performed their own functionality. Like by comparing the previous slide with the old approach and you can see the new approach, what is the difference between the both? Like in the old approach we are having a different applications for different clients. For mobile client is one application, for web client is one application. But you can consider here, you can see here, for both the web and as well as mobile, they are utilizing only one application. That means here we are developing only one application that will be useful for both the mobile and web. That is the importance of API led connectivity. And you can see here what is the layers, what the layers roles here. We can see here the system API. The system API will directly connect with the endpoints, like we are having a SAP, we are having Salesforce, we are having a databases, we are having a tools, and these are end services which are not related to the Mule APIs, external servers. Now all these external servers we can connect with only the system APIs, only the system APIs. Now what is the system API purpose here? The system API job is to connect with externals servers and to extract the data from that, otherwise to store the data into external service. The totally the system API job is to receive the data from process API and send that data to external end system. And comes to the process API, like what the process API can do? Here the process API can receive the data, that means the input from experience API, and if any logical related operations are required on that, any sorting is required on that, any filters is required on that, otherwise any orchestrations is required on that, then all these will be performed in the process API and then sends that one to system API. And once whatever that operation is there, whether it is storing the data, otherwise to retrieving the data from external services, that we can get it from system API. and the process API will receive the response from system API and send that one response to experience API. Now the experience API comes to role. Now what's the experience API can do? The experience API can directly interact with the clients. Here the clients is nothing but here it is the web client and it is the mobile client. The experience API task is to directly interact with the clients and it gets the request and send that one to process API. Like here the experience API won't perform any operations, it just transmit the data from client to process API. That's it. It doesn't perform any other operation. Okay, here that is the experience API. And these are the three layers we can say it as API led connectivity. And we are having so many advantages by following the API led connectivity. If you are using this approach to develop the Mule APIs, then you will get so many benefits. Let's see one by one. Like as we can see here, here it is a complete application like a project. We can say it as a complete project. Now to implement this project, here we are having 1, 2. That means here it requires 2 experience APIs and then 1, 2, 3, 4, like 4 process APIs and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 system APIs. That means how many total? 5, 4, 2. Total 11 APIs are required. Total 11 APIs are required to implement the complete project. It requires total 11 APIs to complete the total project. Now, in this case, let's you can see here the first 2 are belongs to experience API and the 4 are belongs to process API and the remaining 5 are belongs to system API. Now, in this case, let's you can take an example. Now, after some days, here the client is decided that here instead of the Salesforce, they want to change it to Oracle. If they want to change it to Oracle application, Oracle Cloud Server, then if you are followed this API led connectivity approach, now all these 11 APIs are individual APIs, or all 11 APIs are individual APIs. That's why if you want to change this, then you can just update this process API. Just instead of the Salesforce customers connector, you just change it to Oracle. Then this modification is not affect with the remaining all 10 APIs. It won't affect with all the 10 APIs. That is the advantage of API led connectivity. If you are following with the old technology, old approach, then if you want to update any one thing in any one application, here that has to be affect to all. Now it is the main advantage of API led connectivity approach. Here we can use this approach for developing a Mulesoft APIs. Then see the life cycle of a Mule API. Like here we are having the design, the first phase, development and test, deploy, operate, and we are having engage. Now by seeing all these, like the first phase is the design phase. Like before going to implement any API, here first we need to design. Here how we are designing here, like you can see here, design and develop your APIs with Flow Designer or Anypoint Studio. Like to implement the APIs in Mulesoft, here we are having Anypoint Studio and again Flow Designer, like which you are first in the second slide we saw that key components of a Mulesoft. Within that, Anypoint Studio is one of the component. Here it is used to develop, and we are having here, we can see here the RAML, RESTful API Modeling Language. It is one of the modeling language which you can use for design. Here that means in the life cycle, the first phase design, here that we can deal with the RAML, that you can perform with a RAML. Then you can see the next one. Then And also you can see here for development also, here the first phase design, the design we can perform with RAML, and again the next one is dev. Here the development we can perform with Anypoint Studio. It's an IDE, and this is completely like this completely IDE. Here this IDE is completely similar to the Eclipse which you are using for Java development. If you are familiar with Eclipse, then you can easily understand the Anypoint Studio. It is for to develop the APIs, and for designing the APIs we can use the RAML, and we can have one more thing. What is this? Test. To test the API once the development is completed, then we can see here we are having the mocking services. Mocking services means here we are not having any external server connectivity. Instead of external direct connectivity, we are creating some mocking services. Like mocking services means here there is no need to directly connect with that, but instead of directly connecting, we are giving some sample request and we are giving some sample response, and when you are testing it, here it goes to that sample server and it can test with our sample request which you are provided, and it will give the sample response which you are provided. Here by using that we can test our APIs. Then the next phase is the deploy. Like we can have different ways to deploy the APIs. That is, one is the cloud, like where you have, okay, one is the, okay, by using runtime manager here we can deploy, but where you can deploy, where you can deploy, we can deploy in either cloud, otherwise on premises. On premises, in any place. We are having multiple cloud services, like the Mulesoft is provided their own cloud, that is Cloud Hub. Cloud Hub is the one of the cloud service which is provided by Mulesoft. The Mulesoft provided this. And also in the on premises, many number of organizations, they are using their own services like Amazon and Azure servers. Here these are the servers they are using for their own. And comes to these operate once the deployment is completed. Once the deployment is completed, now API is in online. Now the client is using that. Then after that, the next phase is to provide some policies for that, to provide some securities for that. Whatever the APIs which you are given to the client, here for these APIs we need to provide some security, some policies. Here all these we can provide, comes under operate, and that we can provide with API manager. Like whatever seeing here, we get Anypoint runtime manager, Anypoint Studio, API manager, visualizer. Here these all comes under key components of Mulesoft, which are seen on the first slide. Okay, now by using the API manager, here we can provide all these. Like what you can provide here, like we can provide the security to our APIs. Like if anyone want to access our APIs which are developing with Mule API, which is available in Cloud Hub, then the user has to be provide the username and password. That is one type of security. Otherwise, some other security, client ID enforcement, the user has to be provide like username and password as well as the client ID and client secret. Otherwise, if you want to provide more security, then you can use OAuth. Like you can provide the OAuth 2.0. Here it is also one of the security. Here these type of securities we can provide, and those will be provided with API manager. That is the next phase. And then comes to engage, and also we are having this one also, Anypoint visualizer. What is this Anypoint visualizer? Like monitoring, like what it has the monitoring, like supporting team. Like once any project is completed and given to deliver to the client, then the next phase is the supporting team has to be monitor the API functionality, the health of the API. That means how much time it is taking to perform the operation, like a particular request, and how many success responses are there, how many failure responses are there, what is the system time it is utilizing. what is the system memory it is consuming. Like all these will be comes under monitoring. Here that we can see in any point visualizer. And comes to the last one, engage. Engage is nothing but it's like a library. It's like a library. Actually it won't come to the API life cycle. That's why here we have put in some other place in the middle part. Actually this complete part is the API life cycle. And what is this engage means? It's like a library. Like any reusable APIs are required, and all those we can place in engage. It's like a library. It contains all the APIs which are reusable, which are created by some other organization developers, otherwise which are created by the Mulesoft team. Then you can see here, if you have any queries regarding these topics which you have discussed, you please contact with the given details. Here I provided my mail ID and mobile number. And thank you very much.